Hello everyone, this is Melanie from Melanie B's Creative Studio, and you're probably wondering, what am I doing with another light pad? Didn't I just bring you a light pad and said, oh my gosh, this is the holy grail of all light pads? And you know, it was amazing, right? Well, it was an A2, which is a huge light pad, but I had another company say, hey, would you try our light pad? And I was like, well, you know, I just did a video on an amazing light pad. It's going to be very hard to top that one. And he said, well, just if you don't mind, I would really love for you to try ours. And I said, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I was really impressed with the other one. So he was insistent about sending me this one. This one is also one that you can find on Amazon, and I have not looked at it yet. But the reason I said okay was because this one has different features. So I said, why not? Let's take a look. This one is going to give us different options than the one we looked at last. So this one is also a different size. So for those of you who want a different level of portability and other features, we're going to take a look at this one too. Now, I'm not going to say you need both of them, but I am the influencer of all influencers, apparently. And that is why I do what I do. Just kidding. I can find uses for multiple light pads. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I can totally justify having the A2 and this A3. So once I looked at the features on this, I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely see having both of these and using both of them in my, craft art room. So we're gonna go through the features, what makes this one different, and all of that. So let's get started. First of all, you're gonna notice it comes in a really nice box that you can use for storage in your art studio if you need it for that purpose. So it does give us some information just on the front. We're not gonna look at that because we're gonna look at those features once we open this up and take a look at the unit itself. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm gonna get this out of its box and all of its components, and let's take a look at what we have in this package. Now, the first thing I'm noticing are some illustrations, and I'm gonna go ahead and open this up, especially because it's in this clear plastic, which can be a problem with lighting. And it just looks like they have put these ooh, that was beautiful. So it looks like they put these illustrations in, interesting. These illustrations in here for those who want to practice tracing, because as we know, a light pad for a lot of people is designed for tracing and then learning to color and do your own artwork and things like that. There are also some additional blank pages included. So that's a nice touch. It looks like there's several of those. Now I'm going to go back to this one right here. I'm going to use this one as an example because something I didn't mention in a prior light pad video that you can do with your light pad. You can put your watercolor paper over the top and you can trace for a watercolor design. And then you can take your watercolor paper, put it down and tape it down to your surface and use it as your watercolor project, which is always an amazing use for a light pad. And I had left that out last time, but I was trying to keep it, to 5 projects. So there's another use for a light pad for this one and the one I brought you last time. But that's a beautiful piece to practice a watercolor design on. All right, let's move to what we have next. Now it looks like they have it very nicely packaged for, damage prevention and shipping. We have a thick piece of foam, and then we're also going to have this wrapped with the other foam that I like to see. We have our charging cord, and you heard me correctly. This particular light pad is able to be charged. One charge will last up to 6 hours in 2-hour intervals. And what I guess that means is you will work for 2 hours and it might do an automatic shut off, and then you can turn it back on and it will work for up to 6 hours on one charge. So for those of you who do not want to be attached to a wall for a lengthy period of time, that is perfect. So for me, my sectional sofa and where I like to work when I'm watching television is kind of in the middle of the room, and the outlet in the floor does not work anymore. So I am at a distance from an outlet. Now, if I want to plug something in, it is going to have a cord that is stretching across. 5-year-old comes through, trips over the cord because he doesn't pay attention, jerks it out of the wall. You see my dilemma. So I love the idea of having a charged light pad that doesn't require a cord. Long story. I think it's kind of like the sky's the limit for a light pad. I just don't think there are too many ideas that you can have for the uses on one. I feel like it's one of those must-have tools that eventually I would love to see added to Melanie B's creative supplies. So let's talk about features. First, let's talk about the size of this piece. Now you notice it is much smaller than the last one that we discussed. An A3, the overall size is a 42.5 centimeter by a 34.3 centimeter, which is going to equate to this in inches. And the working area, which is going to be in the white zone, is going to be 38.7 centimeters by 30.2 centimeters. And I'll put the inches for that here. So, you know, much smaller, but still not tiny and not super small. So we can still get a medium-sized diamond painting, a medium-sized paint by number on this unit. We have a magnetic clip up here that can clip and hold things into place. I will point this out. There is a protective film on this. So right now this is an anti-glare surface, and you know how much I talked about how important anti-glare is. I'm almost afraid to take this off, but I'm gonna pull it back and see what we have underneath. I'm super excited to say it also has the anti-glare finish on it. Oh, I'm so happy to see that. You guys know that it's a huge selling point for me. In fact, that's even better for my lighting. There's no bounce back. That is a wonderful feature. You guys know I love that feature. No migraines. I just love that. Let's flip it on the back for a minute. A couple of features that make this one unique are they have the non-skid little pads here on the back, and then this one also will pop up to give you the tilt. And I'm going to show you this has different levels of tilt to give you that degree of how you would like to work on this. Let's go ahead and let's put it up at the highest. And I'm not sure if the camera is going to be able to give you the best view of that. Let's go ahead and just attach our little instruction guide there. So we have it at our highest angle. Let's go ahead and put it one down. That's number 3 angle, 4 angle, 5, 6, and then flat. You know, that in itself is a totally different feature than what we saw last time. So, you know, loving that. Now, back in the day when I used to work on a light box, I had the one that was about this thick. I don't know if you remember that. It had like a steel box, and then it had the white kind of surface on the top, and it was just cumbersome, and it had the long cord that attached to it and whatever. You see how thin? It is less than a ½ an inch thick. So you can slip this down into your project bag, take it with you wherever you're going, and super lightweight, easy to transport. I mean, it's like portability, especially. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in, and we're gonna use it plugged in and just work with it that way. But knowing that it has the capability of charging as well is just a very nice perk to me. So be sure you keep that in mind, that even though we're gonna be using it corded, that you can use this cordless whenever you need to. And the connection for this part is going to go into the left side of the light pad. We're just gonna go ahead and insert the USB connection into our USB power adapter, into our power strip or outlet. Now, this has 6 levels of brightness. So let's turn off some lights and check that out. And it also has 3 different temperature levels. So dark. So all you're gonna see is just some natural daylight coming through on a window. So we're gonna have the power button over here, which is just a touch. So what we're gonna start with, first when we tap the power button on, it's gonna automatically remember the last setting you had it on. So it has a memory. Whatever we used last, it's gonna just know that is the most used setting for us. Now over here, we turn this back off and whoop, I'm gonna tap it once and we're gonna see what I call the blue or the daylight setting. So that is gonna be our second color temperature. Then we have tap the power button again and we're gonna have our third temperature. So let's go back through that again. 1 is our most warm, 2 is our cool, and then 3 is going to be more like a natural light. Now, right below that is a brightening button. So if you hold it down, it's going to go through the entire range really quickly. There we go. Now, let's start that again. That's the most dim, all the way up to the brightest. So let's do that again, holding it down. That's the dimmest, all the way up to the brightest. Now I'm going to switch color temps. Let's try that again. All the way down to the dimmest and to the brightest. And then the cool temperature, which is not good on my eyes. Let's go all the way down to the dimmest and then up to the brightest. And so you can see that's got some nice range of brightness. Now let me get one of our tracing papers. And I'm actually gonna set it on the natural light, which is the most comfortable for my eyes. I'm gonna put the light all the way up to the brightest. Let's just see how well we can trace these birds for a watercolor piece. Now, this is not watercolor paper, you know, let's do a real test. This is a very thin paper, so let's do an actual test. Let me grab a piece of watercolor paper, which is a thick paper. Now, of course, I have about 1,000 blocks of 300-pound watercolor paper that is what I needed, but all I could reach and find was a sketchbook with 300-pound paper that has 1 page in it. So I didn't want to tear this out, but I wanted to show you. I'm going to lay this down over our parrot and show you that I can still see through that very thick paper on the brightest setting, that I can easily see to trace this for a watercolor project. So just to prove that you can use the lighting in this light pad for really any project. Now let's get some lights back on. So I guess the question for me when I was approached about doing another video on another light pad was, well, you know, is it really that special? Is it really something that I would need to have after I've done the Hugacious light pad video already? And I was so impressed. And, you know, I'm gonna have to be honest, as I usually am, and say I can definitely see a need for this light pad too. Especially with the fact that it has an anti-glare finish, that it pops up and gives me that whole tilted vibe. You know, it is rechargeable, so I don't have to worry about the cord, and it is portable, and it has a little magnetic clamp thing here, you know, and so, you know, I'm all about finding tools for every need. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd have to say that I can definitely find a need for this one too. So I apologize for bringing you another light pad, but I had to do it. I just really love this one. So I'm going to put a link in the bottom where I got this one and the company that sent it to me and where you can find it on Amazon. So, you know, click below to go straight to it. And that is it for today. I hope you love this light pad too. You guys, if you haven't picked up a light pad yet for your studio, I have to say, I mean, they really are a must-have. Even if you just get one, I really believe you need at least one in your studio to start with. I'm in love with my light pads now. So I don't know how I managed before I had them. No matter what your craft, no matter what your art or your passion, I can see a need. All right, that's it for today. Thanks as always for joining me. Make sure you go check us out on the Facebook group and be sure to check out my new Patreon membership for those who would like to keep my channel alive. I will put the information below that you can click and go get some more information about that. Thanks as always for watching. I will see you back soon.